Imagine digging in the dirt and finding a piece of the night sky. That is what happened to two treasure hunters in Germany, 1999. Henry Westphal and Mario Renner were looking for Roman coins, maybe a Bronze Age axe, things to sell. Instead, their metal detectors beeped over a patch of earth on a hill called Mittelberg, Central Hill. They dug. Under a few centimeters of soil, bronze. A circle of it covered in blue-green crust, and pressed into the surface, gold. Gold symbols, a crescent, a circle, dots, a cluster of 7 stars. They did not know what they had found. They cracked it with their spade, damaged the site, destroyed the archaeological context. The next day they sold it, 31,000 German marks, to a dealer in Cologne. For 2 years, the disc disappeared. Welcome to Mosaic Antiquity. This is the Nebra Sky Disc, 30 centimeters across, 2.2 kilograms, 3,600 years old. For comparison, when this disc went into the ground, the pyramids of Giza were already 1,000 years old. The new kingdom of Egypt, the age of Tutankhamun and Ramesses, had not yet begun. This disc was forged in the Middle Bronze Age, a time that should have been primitive. It is not primitive. It is the oldest known depiction of the cosmos anywhere in the world. But for years after its discovery, almost nobody knew it existed. After the looters sold it, the disc changed hands again and again inside Germany. By 2001, the asking price had climbed to 1 million German marks. Word leaked to the archaeological world. Something extraordinary was on the black market. In February 2002, the state archaeologist of Saxony-Anhalt, Harald Mellor, set up a sting operation. He met the sellers in a hotel room in Basel, Switzerland. Police were waiting. They got the disc back. But proving it was real, that took years. People said it was a fake, a modern forgery. Too good to be true. The looters were caught. They led investigators back to the Mittelberg. Soil samples matched. Traces of bronze were still in the ground. The disc was real. The real mystery had just begun. What is this object? Look at it. A gold crescent. The moon. Below it, a large gold circle. The sun or the full moon. Around them, 32 gold dots. Stars. One cluster of 7 dots stands out. The Pleiades, a star cluster visible since before recorded history. Every archaeologist who saw it asked the same question. What is this thing? At first, nobody knew. Then they noticed something strange about the edges. At some point after the disc was first made, someone added 2 curved gold arcs along its sides. These arcs were not decorative. They were not random. They span an angle of exactly 82 degrees. Why 82 degrees? Because the Mittelberg sits at 51 degrees north. At that latitude, the sun shifts along the horizon throughout the year. Summer solstice, it sets at its northernmost point. Winter solstice, its southernmost. The angle between them? 82 degrees. This disc does not just show the sky. It calibrates the sky to one specific place on Earth. Stand on the Mittelberg. Hold the disc at the right angle. That gold arc points directly at the Brocken Mountain, where the sun sets on the summer solstice. Imagine owning this, knowing exactly when to plant, when to harvest, when the longest day would come. Everyone else watched the seasons. You could predict them. This is a portable astronomical computer. And here is where it gets stranger. A third edition came later, an arc at the bottom with lines through it. A solar boat carrying the sun through the night. The same image appears in Bronze Age rock carvings all across Europe. The disc was not built in one piece, it was built in stages over generations. Each phase adding more knowledge, more precision, more meaning. Whoever owned this, they kept improving it. So who made it? The disc was made by the Únětice Culture, the Únětice, an early Bronze Age society in what is now Germany, Poland, and the Czech Republic. Master metalworkers. Builders of timber circles aligned to the sun and moon, the same kind of celestial observation sites found across Bronze Age Europe. The copper came from Austria, the gold from Cornwall, England, the tin, also Cornwall. raw materials that traveled over 1,000 kilometers to reach a single pair of hands. This was not a local trinket. This was a statement of power. Not far from the Middelburg sites the Born Herk, the largest Bronze Age burial mound in Central Europe, built around the same time as the disc. Some believe the man buried there owned it. Someone powerful enough that controlling the calendar meant controlling time itself. Here's the thing about the Nebra disc that still divides experts. Was it an astronomy tool or a religious object? When spring arrives and the crescent moon sits next to the Pleiades exactly as the disc shows it, it means you need to add an extra month to keep the calendar aligned. The same rule appears in Babylonian texts from 700 BC. The Nebra disc predates those texts by nearly 1,000 years, so maybe it was an instrument, a practical tool for planting and harvesting. But it was also found on a hilltop enclosure not buried with a body, placed deliberately in sacred ground aligned to the solstice. This was not just a tool, it was an object of reverence. Maybe it was both. Maybe that is exactly why it matters. In 2013, UNESCO called the Nebra Sky Disc one of the most important archaeological finds of the 20th century. It now sits in a museum in Halle, Germany, encased in argon gas to stop 3,600-year-old bronze from decaying any further. But the question that still has no answer: how did a Bronze Age society, with no written language, with iron still centuries in the future, map the cosmos with such precision that 3,600 years later, their calculations are still right? That is a mystery we may never fully solve, but it is proof that the people of the past were not primitive. They were watching the sky, they were measuring time, and they were building things that should not have been possible. Next time. In 2013, archaeologists found an emperor's tomb, half a meter beneath a village latrine pit. How did an emperor end up here? Subscribe to Mosaic Antiquity. We'll see you there.